How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to start my day with you.
Did you start? Wait, isn't it noon where you are?
Yeah,
Didn't I see some Whole 30 meal you've already posted? Like, haven't you already had like a full day or something?
that was yesterday.
Oh, okay. Got it. Got
Yes. I mean, I've had a full morning,
it. Okay, good job.
but this is like, Wednesdays are my days to my morning to take my time.
Uh-huh.
So I'm really like, I feel like I'm jumping into the day with you
Oh,
though.
good. Great. I love that.
Because it's the first thing I really have to show up for
Sure.
outside of myself.
Other than my puppy this morning, you're the first thing I've had to show up for this morning, I have to say.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you have this like epic 3 hour morning routine.
Oh no, I'm not. No, I'm not that person. I'm not that person. I love to get. I try to get active every morning.
Uh-huh.
And that looks like getting on a Peloton lately. But not.
Oh.
That's the extent of the morning for me. And then I like to jump in. Kind of makes me happy.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting in your body in my body is like, so important for me now.
Yeah.
And this pandemic has given us an opportunity to do that.
Yeah. Right. And maybe get into more of our body. My friend said I gained the COVID-19 the other day, and I was like, oh, okay. I understand. Not to make light of a pandemic, but they're like, yeah, it's very easy to be a little less active, right? And I find that like if I get sweating, like if I just start, if I like not like if I was doing chores and sweating, it wouldn't be good. But like if I get sweating, like if I'm like get myself sweating, like workout, like I feel like my emotional equilibrium is different, completely different. Like I remember that. So when the first day we got the Peloton, I'm all excited, and I rode the bike, and I was like, I hope there's not a camera watching me when I'm on this Peloton because I'm like singing along and throwing my arms around, and then later in the day I'm like in the kitchen, I'm like feeling this huge sense of happiness of like, oh, I haven't had this in a long time because I haven't been this active in my body, just moving things around. It was really like, oh, you dumb shit. Obviously, this is what happens when you move your body. It was really kind of exciting.
I feel like that every day. I'm in my head and then I move my body. I'm like, oh, wait, that's all I needed to do.
Yeah.
But I almost forget every day.
Yeah.
And I definitely gained some weight in COVID. But then I also got the best shape I've been in for a long time.
Really?
So I keep going back and forth. I haven't decided if I'm going to, like sabotage or just keep going.
You're lucky. I hate you for that. Don't sabotage. You're doing great. You're doing great. So I actually am. So I find that for me, I've always been a person who gets more energized around being other people. I don't know. I'm definitely a textbook extrovert, and so even when it comes to working out, like someone next to me, not that I'm necessarily even competing with them, but just having someone there gets me feeling more like I'm doing something, or like I don't just energizes me. And so for me, this has been hard to find. How do I, engage that part of myself, or do I overcome that part of myself to get excited about moving my body? And so that's been my challenge around this. Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good thing we could talk about today.
Yeah, sure, for sure.
Well, I wanted to for people who may not know you, just have you kind of introduce yourself. I know you do a lot of different things, and you've got a huge toolkit as a coach and just a human.
Thanks.
So I'm curious, like someone who doesn't know you, is like, so Brian, like, what do you do? I hate this question.
No, and I love that. I love this question because it makes me get clear. So I work with two different audiences. One of the audiences I work with is actors, and the other is creative people. And obviously, they're all creative, but just to kind of be clear, creative people, what I mean by that is creative entrepreneurs, people who have their own businesses. A lot of time it's solo entrepreneurs who want to start their own thing. Like one of my clients has her own cookie shop in Ohio. One of my clients is starting this a planner, which is also a journer, and she's like talking to people in China to have them make them for her. Like it's a whole thing. So this that's like part of my business, and the other is working with actors. And at the bottom of all of this is the foundation which is, I've been trained as a life coach, but the foundation for me is I have a background in non-denominational spirituality, or religion, you could say. It's not really religion because there's no dogma and no doctrine, right? So Buddhist, Muslim, Christianity, Judaism, like all the major spiritual truths is what my background is in. And so I believe that we're all called to the things that we do in our lives, and that the universe organizes itself by desire. So by desiring to I'll make up a story. So let's pretend you are desiring, I use an actor. So let's say you're an actor and you're like, great, I'm an actor. I'm moving to Los Angeles. What inspired you to move to Los Angeles is because of your desire to pursue this calling. And then you're going to go shoot headshots with this photographer. And because you're going to shoot headshots with that photographer because of your desire to be an actor, you're going to stop at this Starbucks and you're going to talk to that barista. And like the universe organizes itself through our desire. And that is not to say hedonistic desire. This is the more the altruistic desire that we are moving towards a better planet, right? And I think that by we can stay small and by not fulfilling our desire, not fulfilling our calling, we are in fact being selfish, and we are in fact not here for the growth of everyone. And so it feels like it is selfish to go towards it. It is actually, I believe, selfish not to. Oops, my alarm went off for no good reason. Just to make sure I was here on time. If I was going to be 7 minutes late, I guess is why my alarm went off. So to me, it is selfish for you not to pursue your calling, because then you're failing me. You're failing the rest of us here. Because we are all going to become more enlightened by those of us being the best people we can be. And the one way to know if you're, doing the best things in your life is if you feel crappy. If you feel like yuck, ick, then you know that you're not, like, the universe did not intend for you to feel that way, right? Now, I realize I'm saying this from a very privileged point of view as a white, cisgendered homosexual man. And we have a ways to go still, but there's that. But I'm also saying it from a privileged point of view because we're in the middle of a pandemic and quarantine, and I have some job security, right? So I also understand that there's, Maslow's hierarchy of what you have to work towards first. But I think that the ability to hold the paradox of what might be right in front of you and what you know is true about you is one of the greatest gifts that we are given as spiritual beings, is the ability to hold that paradox. That was stolen from Carl Jung. I didn't make that up.
So that's what you do.
Yeah. So what do I do? So I help actors.
You answered the question.
Did I? Okay, good.
Yeah. But you can say.
So I'll just be clear. So for actors, I help them, express their calling, whether that's getting agents or managers. People call me the representation whisperer because I help people get agents, managers all the time. And then I also, to create their own work, to get out there, to get seen. Acting is such a crapshoot. It feels like it's a crapshoot of a career. And so by rooting you in your calling, I think it makes happier actors. And then for the creative people, it's like, what does it look like for your branding to align with attracting the right people into your store, or the right people into your, whatever your store is, whether that's online or real life. And from doing it from a point of view that your business is going to look like the one you want to have. You're not going to create something that then becomes the thing you didn't want, which I think can be very easy, because it's easy to get sucked in on like, what's everyone else doing on Facebook and Instagram and like all these like fun things. And I get sucked into it. Like, I just learned how to use this. I use Facebook Messenger now to communicate with people, and I use like a bot, but it's to say like, hey, I'm going live, or I don't want you to miss this or whatever. And what I like about it is the bot will lead me to having one-on-one conversations, because I'm not able to message everybody all the time. But then if someone responds to it, then I get to get into a conversation. But in the beginning, I was like, cool, I can get a robot to talk. Like the attractionness of the technology was like so interesting to me. So I had to really pace myself and go, what is the end game with this in terms of who you want to be in your business? And who I want to be in my business is I want no one to feel like they're one of a number. I want everyone to be treated as an individual, because coaching is so personal, right? And so to me, it was great. I need this to become a funnel, for lack of a better word, where I can have more personal interaction. So that the person decides to engage, I then get to speak to them. So that's the kind of thing that I think in a business can get so tricky, I guess, for lack of a better word. Yeah.
Well, my wife Cassie and I experienced that when we started our business. Soulfit NYC was like a wellness company that suddenly started to turn into, like, our business coach was leading us. It was almost towards the new Uber of wellness.
Okay.
Like, we don't want to be like Uber. We want to work with people one-on-one. We don't want to remove the people and put in machines. Like, not to knock Uber, but like, we are people, So I was so lit up this morning too, because I'm a people person, and I'm so excited to like be with you.
Thanks. Yeah, me too.
Not hanging out with my friends today.
Yeah.
And I can't be there in person yet, so it's like it really lights me up. And you just said, I resonate so much with you. I feel like the universe put us together. It as someone who really has always been like an entrepreneur minded, but so creative, and putting those together and starting to launch a coaching business too. But as an actor who still supports other actors, but still, needs help. Like, we all need a coach or someone to guide us along the way. And the Course of Miracles keeps.
Because it does it good. Yeah, that's my training. Yeah.
Living. Yeah. And I'm the son of an Episcopal gay minister who was like, go to synagogue, like, hang out with your Baha'i and Jewish friends, like, celebrate, like, talk to your, the immigrants about the refugees who are here, the other immigrants in Chattanooga, Tennessee, about, like, their religions. And it was so special. So that you're, like, encompass all these things. I'm like, where's Brian been?
Now's the right time, right? And also, and I just want to be really clear for anyone, just because of what you said, I think this is important for everyone, because this is a lesson I think I learned that I think helps people is, acting was like, I'm an actor, and then I was like, but this is not enough of my time. There's more time in my day to do other things, and I was like, well, I'm going to coach people on the business because I'm getting good at the business, right? And that's how it kind of started. And one day I just was like getting annoyed that I would have to cancel on a client for coaching to go to an audition, and I was like, oh, whoa, you like coaching more than you like acting. And it's such a wake-up call, particularly for those people who are listening, who, you've trained in one thing for a long time, or you've had success in one thing for a while, and then you can think, oh, well, I'm supposed to be this. Like, there's some kind of entrenched foundation that you can't leave. And I think it's so important to take those hits from the universe, like that we should be reconnecting, or that also, like, okay, maybe you don't, maybe acting is not your thing, but it brought you to where you are now, which is what was it was so easy for me to say, oh, this isn't it anymore. And I think that's such an important lesson for people to learn.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think it's really, can be really uncomfortable, right? To experience that when you've been attached to something or dependent on something for so long. And there's also actors like myself who went through a period where, people are like, well, what are you? Are you an actor? Are you a musician? Are you a coach? And it dawned on me one day that I've always felt all three, but there's a pressure to choose one. And one of the things I got was, like, doing what I love, and, like, I have a responsibility to do that. And the fact that you said that. Yeah. And that's ended up what's attracted clients into my life, because there's other people who say, like, wait a second, I can, like, in my 30s or 40s or 50s or 60s, like, start over and do what I love and make a living and survive and thrive, So I love that you mentioned, like, having a responsibility to do what you love. And I even started sharing with my agents about my coaching.
Yeah. So, yes, please.
I want to support people in our lives, and how great it is that you have an actor that also cares about, like, other people and lifting the vibration for everyone. So there's ways to talk to actors, for actors to speak to their agents as, like, we're a team, and this is what I'm up to. Yeah. And here's what I'm doing to better myself, and to even support you and your clients. Know that like, I am well rounded and unapologetically. Yes. I think that, like, I always want to say, when an actor's like, I never want them to think I do anything but act. I'm like, well, go back to 2008 when that was the way we needed to do things. When people told you that was the way things needed to be, because Instagram has happened. We are on Facebook, but we're not on Facebook as much. But, like, we are, like, way more in people's lives, and we are used to seeing them. So we want to see a full person. We're done with that. I mean, I was talking to a manager the other day, and she was saying that, she'd be like, she was pitching her client over the phone, and she said to the manager said to her, the casting director said to her, well, what's his Instagram? And the casting director wasn't looking to be like, how many followers? The casting director looked at, what is this guy like, to make a decision if we wanted to call him in for an audition. And I just think it's so important that we realize that no one wants you to only be... that's not to, so if you're a painter and you say, I'm a painter and that's all I am, it's okay. What I'm trying to say is, you don't need to hide the rest of yourself. Yeah. Right? That's beautiful. Right? And I think right now, especially in the world that we're in, if you're not activated in some way by what you want this country to look like, or what you want kind of the world to look like, then I think it might almost seem like you're out of touch. Yeah. Right? And so in acting, in any creative, I mean, any act is political, I think. Any act you take is political. But acting in artistry is 100% a political act. So how you're standing into that, or you're taking actions toward that, is so important. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my alarm just keeps going off. It's really fun, Ben. I don't know why. Sorry.
Numbers of followers.
Good. Yeah.
So people do identify themselves based on number of followers, and I like that it's more about who you're being and authenticity.
Yeah. I mean, like literally, I'm of course looking at the number of people who are watching right now, and at the same time not caring. Like it's like what? Why do you do, like? It's as though it's some kind of validation for the impact that I can have on one person. Hi, Dee Dee Nicholson. So right, and so.
And Adam, hi.
Yeah,
Adam.
hi Adam. Right.
There's a lot of people on here that know us both. Right?
Yes, so good. I'm also sharing this on Facebook just so that you know it's going straight into my Facebook. But I'm not looking at them because their camera's here, or maybe I am. Oh yeah, it does make it look like I'm looking at them. Great. Okay. Fancy technology. Like I said.
Yeah, I gotta ask you about that.
Right.
Actually, I don't know how to go from Instagram to Facebook. You're doing that on one thing.
Yeah, so I'll share it with everybody. This is a really great tool. It's called ecamm.live. ECAMM live. And so my phone is plugged into my computer, and I click a button so that I'm also sharing this live on Facebook as we watch this.
Ooh.
Cool, right?
I just learned something new. I've been trying to figure that out for months.
Yeah, good. It's so freaking easy too. Like it's like you plug it in and do it. Yeah, it's really fun.
We'll talk after.
Okay, great.
It's important to know.
Yes.
You know, if you want to get across platforms and get your voice out, working smarter rather than harder, because I've posted things 4 different ways. I'll like reformat it for YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. It's a lot of work. And so one thing I love about you that I've noticed, I was checking out your website again yesterday, and I was like, my God, it's just like everything that Brian does is so it feels personal and engaging, and like the brand is incredible. Like just looking at your electronic press kit. So I've been telling people we're like going behind the curtain.
Okay, great. Go behind the curtain. Go for it.
But what I was impressed about, because as a musician and creatives who need to own their voice and then also learn how to sell that, like that's a big block for some actors. Like, I got out of school, I'm so talented.
Yes.
How the hell do I do this?
100%, yes. It's a painful part of life, I feel like, actually. I get so worried for people getting out of college. They're so unprepared for the business and so prepared to act, right?
Yeah.
It's like the most vulnerable part of I feel like it can be like they run away. I find that to be so vulnerable. I'm sorry I'm talking on top of you, but this activates me because there are actors who say, yeah, I really, like I put in my best, it didn't happen. And then if they start to tell me what they did, I go, actually, you did your best and you did everything wrong. Wrong is a strong word I'm saying here, right? But like everything you did isn't actually the thing that's ever going to move the needle, and you're using an old playbook, and it's not your fault, but you're using an old playbook that isn't up to date. And I think it's so easy. There's a phrase from AA that I use sometimes. I'm not an AA, but I love all the work of AA, and I work with some clients in recovery. And one of the phrases is your own recovery. Okay, great, good. Maybe you'll know this one.
Recovery all the time.
Great. So great. Your own best.
I didn't make up most of them.
They're so good. They're the best thoughts ever, right? So one of them is your own best thinking got you here, right? And I just think that as an actor, as you get out of graduate school or undergrad, you need someone else's thinking or some other kind of thinking beside what you've had to help you interact with the business. It's a time for you to bring someone else in, and I think that's why it's so important to I remember when I got out of college, I was devouring every book on the business in the world, which is why I kind of navigated it a little bit better, and I just read it as though it was a Bible and used that to help myself. Yeah. Sorry, we were going to talk about something else, but I got activated.
It's such a great plug for having just the importance of having a coach or someone else in your corner, like a higher power. If you want to go back to that, like a power greater than yourself, like anyone. That's why they say. Two heads are better than one. We have our own limiting beliefs are the things that keep us stuck. Or even when we're super talented, like keep us self-sabotaging or keep us afraid of playing big. And I always think about that Marianne Williamson quote, like always speaks to me, because it really is our greatness and our fear of success, because most creatives know how to struggle. Like we know how to live in the dark side.
Or we also I think we glorify I think we glorify it a little bit. Yes. I think we glorify struggle a little bit. And we romanticize that it has to come with being an actor or being a creative. And it's so not true. And it is so seductive to say yes to, I feel crappy today, or I don't feel like doing it today. Just checking in with where that's coming from. Like, what is that? Is it actually towards your purpose, or is it a safer? Are you actually playing small in that moment? Right. There's also the idea of like, one of the things you have on our post is like self-care. Like, you might need to take a bath and take a nap. Yeah. Like, let's be real. You could also need that. But sometimes.
I just dropped those like things on our post because I was like planting seeds of what might come up between us.
Good.
So I really so I was talking about if you never put your work out there, people won't see it.
Yeah.
And that so many artists don't know how to, and so many artists I talk to are like, well, I'm afraid to talented people even like I'm afraid to go live on Instagram. What are people gonna think? But the times when I've been most vulnerable and fumbled is usually when I connect with people because I'm no longer trying to be perfect. I'm just practicing being there, and people need connection, and they need an artist. Still need some way to put themselves out there. And it's like I always use the metaphor of like a painter. Like a painter's artwork can never, if you're so worried about the people who don't like it, and that you never put it out there, then the people who would appreciate it get robbed of the opportunity to see that beauty.
Yeah, actually,
so that like goes back to what you're saying about like you have responsibility to do what you love and share that with the world.
What 100%, and Ben, I think you articulated that so beautifully around the painter metaphor is such a good one. And I also think it's none of your damn business. What people will think is none of your damn business, and it is one more place where you're playing small and you're thinking more about yourself than them. So, for example, I have a camera set up here. I've got lights so that it looks okay that I'm on camera today. But there's a point where I can get a little bit like, okay, but does this look good? And how does this look? And I can get a little too like that. And when it gets there, I go, oh, Brian, it's about you now. It's not about them. Stop. I can tell that I've passed the curve for what's it really about and how to. Hey, Aaron Rye. I'm just saying hi to Aaron.
Oh my gosh, I know Aaron.
Do you? Oh my God, I love Aaron. I didn't know you knew Aaron.
Maybe I don't.
Okay. Well, maybe you don't. Okay, so.
We went to school together.
You might have. You went to NYU?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did.
Okay.
People are like blowing up that I went to school and they can't keep up with it anymore.
Love you, Aaron. I think it's so important that you when you're writing, when you're reaching out to agents or casting directors, or you're trying to get your business opened, that if you start to think about, well, how are people going to think, or what are they going to look like, or are they going to, who am I to open my own business, right? Like I remember when my baker was like moving out of her home to open a business. She's like making $4,000 a month in her home. And she's like, this could be so much more money out of my own kitchen right now. I know I could do more. People picking cookies up at her front door, right? So to be able to say like, what are they going to think of me is taking it off the impact that you're wanting to have. So I think what's so important, why I coach, I think it sometimes helps, is what is the impact you want to have? Being really clear on that, right? Like my mission statement for myself is I help creatives get what they want without suffering. And that usually sustains me most of the time.
That's sexy.
That's a good one, right?
Say that again.
I help creatives get what they want without suffering.
That's a powerful statement.
Yeah.
There's a lot in there. I mean, it's a simple thing, but like what we're talking about attached to suffering, and that's like the number one thing I see too.
Yeah.
That's so powerful. Like,
tell me about
what you want without suffering.
Tell me about like when you, in your work, because I want you to talk some. I feel like I'm screaming at the phone. Tell me a little bit about. Good. Tell me about like your favorite client without revealing anything confidential. Obviously, like what is the work that you love to do the most, Ben?
God, that's such a great question.
Or like, what is your favorite result you've seen a client get? It couldn't even be confidence. I mean, doesn't be like $1 million. I'm not looking for that, right?
Well, I mean, one of the things was like a man in his 50s recently who I worked with for the last 3 months on like getting connected to his heart and allowing himself permission to begin to love himself again. One of the things that happened is he said for the first time in his life, he was a musician and he stopped 30 years ago because of a traumatic event.
Okay.
And he had his father's voice in his head. It was really controlling and abusive, and never let himself. He was such a control freak and never let himself be creative again because he was so afraid of not being perfect. And he doesn't even work anywhere near the arts anymore. But one of the biggest things was once I found out he had played piano and like that was one of his greatest passions, and to sing, and he loved Joni Mitchell.
Yeah.
I encouraged him to get on Facebook Live and to play one song, and you know, and he's in his 50s too. Like that was a new thing for his generation, and he like it broke open.
Wow!
You know, like the tears came. His friends gave flood of validation. His husband he reconnected with through music. Like now he plays regularly, and his husband sits
wow.
And then the other thing is that he said for the first time in his life he feels comfortable in his own skin, and he never thought that was possible.
Yeah.
And I know what that's like. Like before I got sober, that was something that I really struggled with, and like thought that my art's depended on my suffering. And and I literally, I mean, I went through an artistic block when I stopped getting messed up all the time. But what happened on the other side of taking care of myself was this huge well just filled and exploded of creativity. And so I really love to help sensitive beings like step into their power and their light. And that is, and it started with creative professionals. That's why when you're talking, I feel like you're literally talking to me. And so I really help people connect to their heart and their purpose and like love the shit out of themselves until they have no choice but to go after what they love, or at least if they're not doing it, they can find acceptance and peace now, because once you accept where you are now, then you can actually break through. It's like when you're fighting it, you're like, I don't want this, I don't want this. Like my favorite saying is like, the universe is a giant yes button. And you kind of alluded to this at the beginning. Like if you say, I don't want this, the universe is going to give you all the proof for why you should have it.
Yes.
But if you say, you know, I do want this, and I am ready, you know, how much are you ready and willing to receive? And so that's what I work with people on their limiting beliefs, because that is exactly the journey I went on. And I don't try to teach something I don't know, but I went through a lot of really difficult, traumatic phases that I overcame. And I want to help people like you do no longer have to suffer.
Yeah.
So suffering is so optional, but we are so, I mean, my wife and I were talking about it like an hour last night. We're so attached.
Was that a fun conversation? I can't tell if that was like
It was powerful.
Okay, good.
We went there. This is like what we bonded over.
I love it.
Like self-sabotage.
Yeah.
And like being addicted to, because she and I both continue to rise creatively, and we have a band together, but now she's starting a solo career as a musician. Okay. And, you know, I'm starting a solo career as a coach, and we're both actors. And so it's allowed us to see as we get bigger, like we're both noticing our like old habits of wanting to sabotage and like wanting to like pull back as you start to grow. Like, oh my God, you know, I'm going to be more responsible for things like consulting. I have money coming in. What do I do with this? Because if you don't have the self-worth or self-esteem to hold on to that money and hold on to that, it's all just a metaphor for self-worth, I think.
Well, yeah, and so it's so
helping people find their worth is like, then money can come. Like as an actor, I used to, you know, the amount when I stopped working for free, the amount of work I started getting paid was incredible. But you had to say, I will not do this anymore.
Yeah, totally. You know? And I think what you're saying also this around self-worth and self-sabotage is so hooked into money in many ways, because in the way that the world works in a capitalist society, money helps us kind of move forward and helps us kind of keep expressing our purpose. I also believe money is an exchange of energy, so that like it is a way that you are being paid for stepping into what you do, whatever, right? But we as artists can make people who have money bad people so quickly.
That is huge.
And I think it's
like this year when I looked at my limiting beliefs of money, I was like, oh my God, I was raised to think like wealthy people are bad.
And you have to think about like, so if wealthy people are bad, if wealthy people are bad, even people who might be secure might be a little bit bad, because you have to remember, like that's a very extreme on the continuum, right? Wealthy people are bad. So anything besides worrying about money then is not okay. There has to be some worry around money, or I'm not being a good person. It's a very curious dichotomy that can show up for us, I think. Shows up for everyone, I think, in some way or another. And then
the creatives, I think, are really, you know, people who have chosen not to like climb the corporate ladder, not go for jobs where you get raises, or not have a regular income. Like I think that comes up for a lot of those people.
Yeah.
Because especially if you start your own business, or you're attached to your the success of your business, like who you are.
Yeah. Is actually paying your bills. Yeah, super scary. Yeah. I mean, I don't talk about that very much, but I have to say that that's a little scary to own that, like, who I am being. It's also exciting, and part of what gets to be good about being a coach is who you're being in your life is going to be what you're paid for in some ways. You have to show up that way, right? So, like, there was such a great call to that recently, I think, because with the murder of George Floyd and Black Lives Matter getting very loud, I don't want to say I loved, that's the wrong word altogether, but there was such a call for me to take a stand as who I want to be in my business so that the people in my community could hear that and could know who I wanted to be through this moment. And that was such a important place for me to, like, I never got more hate emails than when I sent emails around, hey, we're raising money for these organizations or whatever. And it was like, it was a sense of relief. Because to me it was, oh, I'm actually cutting a shape in my business. Like, I'm cutting opinion. Like, I always believe if you don't get unsubscribed, you're doing a crappy job. Because if you don't get unsubscribes, like, so this is everybody's thinking about sending emails. Unsubscribes tell you that you're cutting a shape that's interesting enough to say I don't like it, which means other people can say they do like it. And so if I'm not, so literally if my unsubscribe rate is too low, then I actually, I'm not doing a good enough job.
Interesting. I love that.
So to me, that was a place where I got to speak into what was important to me. But there was something you said that I don't want to lose that was around self-sabotage. And I wanted to ask you about it. It'll come back. I'm not worried about it. The universe will bring it back.
Yeah, I was talking about how as we continue to grow and get successful, that has come up for me recently.
So many people.
Cassie wants to know if you went to the New Actors Workshop.
I didn't go to the New Actors Workshop.
No.
I don't think so.
Her friend Lester.
I probably do.
Okay.
Sorry.
With actors, so you probably know a lot of.
Well, I love what Erin said. Erin's a coach, and Erin's a wonderful coach, by the way, and filmmaker. And she says everything I'm reading and doing is part of my coaching, and I think that's part of what I think coaching does give you, and I think acting does too. Everything that you're digesting gets to be part of what you share or put into your work, right? Like reading the New York Times on Sunday is like, it's not just for me, it's for everyone that I get to contribute to the story to, right?
Yeah, because who you are and what the information you put in your head and your body is what, comes out, right?
Right.
So, like, thoughts create your words, create your action, create your world. And if you're in a world of service to other people, then guess what's going to show up? I love seeing when my clients have blocks, the first thing I look at is, like, am I doing this? Am I taking my own coaching? Do I do these things in my life? Like, am I giving my heart the space it needs? Or am I, like you said, practicing today or rehearsing or whatever? Like, am I carving out the time for myself?
Yeah.
Where, I always say, like, your clients are a reflection of yourself in a way.
Yeah.
And if I'm attracting a lot of people who, like, have these conversations about money, like, I don't have money. I can't, I've been there, and until I had a breakthrough with my own self-worth around money, that kept showing up. That's what I was helping. So Erin, did you all work together?
Yeah, Erin worked.
Erin keeps coming up in my life.
We used to work together. So Erin and I worked together because Erin was a coach. Erin is a coach at Actor Salon, and I started Actor Salon, right? And so she was a client, and then she became a coach, and she's a brilliant coach.
Such a small world.
And she has a fabulous podcast.
Sat next to me
really?
Senior year of college.
Oh my God.
I went to NYU 8 years later to finish my senior year.
Yeah.
Because my whole thing was, like, NYU is going to pay me to go back to school to finish, or give me an honorary degree like Alec Baldwin. That's what I was screwing.
Got it.
I'm going to go back and be the business acting coach there because they don't have that. Like, one of the greatest schools in the country don't teach actors what the hell to do once you graduate. Come on. And had doubled the tuition, by the way.
Sure.
By the time I went back. Yeah. So I'm sitting next to Erin, and we really connected. We were in the Shakespeare class together. It was awesome. It's all coming back.
Great.
And then I would see Erin all over the internet as I was becoming a musician, and then Erin blowing up as an actor, and now as a coach.
Yeah.
With coaching. So it's another Erin. I see you. Like, you just around the universe.
Great.
Brian, for those people who don't know.
Yeah.
I want to, spill some tea.
Great, spill some tea.
So it's still, this is great. This is why I love you. But every time it's rare that I can see you without seeing your shirtless, glitter-covered body in a
Great.
Speedo.
Great.
Dancing around a very tiny dressing room.
Yes.
In the Players Club of New York City. So
yeah.
that was like, it was such a great image. You were such a, it was like, I don't know, you were in an enigma when I first met you.
We had a lot of fun. We did a play off Broadway, Ben and I.
Yeah. We didn't just meet in a dressing room.
Right, yeah, I was just hanging out in a Speedo. And it wasn't like,
and I was just looking for some glitter.
Right.
Just like every Friday night.
Yeah, and that show ran for a while too, and that was a fun show. It was the weirdest show. It was a play with music, not a musical though. Do you remember that?
Should we tell? Yeah.
Yeah, it was called Joy. Right.
It was called Joy, but originally the title, and this is what was so controversial, was for me at like 19 or 20 or whatever. No, I guess I was 22.
Yeah, we were adults.
It just ended. We were adults.
Yeah.
It was called The Joy of Gay Sex.
Oh yeah, it was, and they changed the name.
Yeah, so Ben Rimalower had written it around the Clinton administration.
He didn't write it. He didn't write it. Someone else.
Oh, sorry, directed it.
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yes.
The writer, I'm blanking on now, but it's a brilliant idea around that time in San Francisco, and kind of owning homosexuality, and like the first time, like being proud and gay, to bring that back to Marcus is here, bring it back to the conversation, and here I was on the face of it, and I was on that like cover of HX magazine with my shirt.
Yes.
My friends were like, "Dude, what the fuck? If you're gonna come out, like, tell me, motherfucker, you're on the cover of HX." And I was like, "I'm not gay." It's like I even talked about my girlfriend in there. I was like, "I love gay men." Like I
remember that.
Now on the spectrum, but it's being a son of a gay minister, it was like my dad and I went to gay cowboy bars together.
Oh my god, funny.
Dancing. It was like, so we did this play, and it was Joy, and it was just a really fun story in San Francisco back then.
Right. And it had all kinds of remember it had Cole Porter music, which is what made it, I think, made it special.
Good.
Right, yeah.
Oh my god, Cole Porter, and like, who did Weston Girls or Weston Boys? What's that song?
Oh yeah. We did, there was dancing. It was a cute play. It was a really cute play. Hold on, my phone's being funny. Okay.
It was cute. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That was the first time I'd ever like autographed a laptop outside of the
really?
Like a Dell.
Someone brought a laptop.
But that play had me fall in love with Cole Porter.
Yeah, 100%.
I'll never forget you. For bringing us together, and here we are, like
many years later. It's 20-ish, not quite 20. Yeah.
Like maybe, yeah. So it's like, you're such a gift, and I think there are no accents in the universe, and I just was really moved when I saw what you're up to, the way you really show up for actors and creatives, and then the further I got to know, like, into your business coaching, and you're just like, you're doing something right, and
thank you.
You know that, but I just wanted to like reflect that from another coach. You're an actor and creative. You really inspire me. Thank you so much. Thank you, really. I'm curious, like, your journey started as a coach. In New York. When you were like, I can't, like, I'd rather. So what happened is audition was like, I want to show up for I can't keep canceling clients for this. So what was happening is I was already coaching because I was in New York, and that's when I started Actor Salon. When I worked at Actor Salon, I started Actor Salon, and I was coaching people in groups. And I didn't even know you started that. I remember getting the email. I'm sure you did. Like, thinking I should go there, and then like I had no idea it was you. Right. So then congratulations. Thank you. And then and because I just had extra time, I was making my living as an actor. I was booking commercials and doing hosting work and doing TV and doing theater, and I was making my living as an actor, but I had other time. I had extra time in my day, and I'm like, I think something around my work ethic and energy, obviously, was like, you've got time to do other things. And so I would meet with people one-on-one and in groups. And then was like, I have to move to LA. If I never move to LA, I'm going to kick myself in the butt. So I have to move to LA. I'm going to be mad. So I moved to LA, and then I'm going to be mad. And I moved to LA, and I was acting, and I was getting TV jobs. And then I was like, I need to start Actor Salon again. Like, I had too much fun doing that. And so then started again. And then started seeing people one-on-one, and I was getting auditions, and I would be on set, and I would be like on my phone working on stuff about Actor Salon or working on my coaching career, and then I'd be talking to clients, and then I'd have to cancel on a client or reschedule them because of an appointment, and I was like,
I am not having as much fun going to appointments for auditions. I'm not having as much fun going to auditions as I am being in front of my clients. And it just became really clear to me that, oh my gosh, I love this more. And, that took a moment, like I had to try it out. I was like, okay, I'm going to try it out for 2 weeks and see if it's actually the answer. Because, I wasn't sure. A really good friend of mine said, okay, how about you don't do any acting things for 2 weeks and see what happens. And, I was
actually,
like, okay.
I mean, that's kind of scary if you're actually working and auditioning regularly.
Yeah.
That's a long time. Agents are like, what the?
Right? It can feel like it, right? And it was and then it was 2 weeks turned to 4 weeks, turned to 6 weeks, to turn to be one day. I sent an email to my manager and said, I think I'm not doing this anymore. And she said, I could tell. She said, you've kind of been turning down every audition that you give me. I give you.
Oh, wow.
And so it was not hard. It just wasn't hard, right? And there's something around that which says to me, we can move through the ideas of things not being hard, right? I think, again, like we talked about, as a creative, you can be attached to the idea of struggle being going to be able to give you the answer. And if it's hard, there's a difference between needing to have a personal growth learning moment, you're playing small kind of hard, versus this feels right?
Yeah.
And that's what it was for me. I was like, this feels right. Yeah.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Yeah, and I think the things, I feel like if you're one barometer of if you're on the right path is is this, just hard all the time? Does it need to be hard?
Yeah.
Are you making it harder?
Yeah.
I feel like half of what I do is try to help people get out of their own way, because that's what I've had to do most of my life, and even being in New York all the time, New York City for 21 years, the pandemic gave me this gift of living in Maine for 4 months.
Okay.
Our band was on tour, everything shut down, our bandmates' family just took us in, and I was living there oh my God, I actually have more peace of mind than I ever had, and I am a sensitive person, and being in a big city is it's become more and more intense on my nervous system, and as I become more aware and do healing work with other people, I can see how much it affects them, and I just realized I've been talking about leaving New York for so long, and I just needed to choose it, and so it just, and then the space just opened up, and now I feel obviously also being a privileged space as a white man and being able to have work right now, I've also seen the gift that you really can do what you love right now, and there is an opportunity to travel, to be safe, to find yourself, to be with yourself right now. It's an opportunity to run and get in distractions, or really use this time to ground and find out what you do love, and what works for you and what really doesn't, and why are you still holding on to it?
Yeah, and I also think that one of the things you said is so important is because during this time, I don't think it's unnatural to be distracted, because there's a lot of movement in the world, and there's a pandemic going on, and there's probably people that you are distanced from that you may be worried about, because not everyone's able to just go be with their family. And so I think that one of the things that I've been talking about with my clients is the normalizing distraction, meaning you're distracted for a reason. And rather than saying I'm just going to stay distracted and just be in that, there's a what are you distracted? Can you just give it 2 seconds of real attention and go, oh, I'm distracted because I'm actually worried about my mom. Okay, great. Let me call my mom, as opposed to just letting distraction be. I've just been really distracted and overwhelmed, and days and days and weeks and weeks and weeks can go by. Distraction, I believe, is one of the tools the universe can use to say, hey, you're not giving me attention. It's like pulling on your pant leg. Hey, there's something over. But that takes consciousness to look and say, what is it the thing? Oh, I need to move my body. I need to tell my mom I love her. I need to, whatever it is, right?
Yeah. And if you don't have that awareness yet, maybe you could hire a coach, someone who can help guide you.
Sure, yes. Right? Or just sit down and watch a candle for 5 minutes and breathe and chill out, right?
Yeah, you don't have to have a coach to do it.
Right. No, but I'm saying, yes, I would love you to hire a coach, but also I think that that's the place where you have to say, oh, I don't have all the tools to fix this on my own. I can ask for help. It's okay. One of the things that we have inside of my Facebook group is one of our core values is asking for help is a core value. Because I think so many of us can be afraid to ask for help. We feel super vulnerable, right? And so I always that I'm advocating for it so that people will ask for help, like making it a very safe space to do that, because we need to flex that muscle.
Yeah. We're also that's a huge muscle. Yeah. If you're trying to do everything on your own, asking for help it's sometimes the most confronting for some people, but it's because you have to be vulnerable and humble and like check your ego sometimes.
Yeah.
Aaron said, "Look at a tree."
Yes,
I love that. I'll hug a tree if I can.
Love that.
It feels a little ridiculous, and then I'm like, "Wait, this feels good. This is a living thing," and then suddenly I'm totally present.
Yeah,
it can be more challenging in a big city.
Yeah. Yes, totally. It also can be, maybe people may look at you a little more in a big city. Right. Yeah.
Cassie wanted to know, how do you work with clients? Do you have weekly coaching calls or group calls?
Sure. Great question. Thanks, Cassie, for asking. So first of all, everybody who might be interested in anything I've had to say, if you go to the link in my profile after we're finished, there's a bunch of free stuff you can get in on. I've got 2 Facebook groups where I'm pretty active. One is called Actors Belong Here. The other is Brian's Breakfast Club for Spiritual Creatives. Which is a long thing to say, but you click on it, you'll be in there. That's what this is broadcasting right now. I
just asked to join that one yesterday, and I will get active in those groups.
Great.
They both look awesome.
Good.
Like really supportive.
Good. Thank you. And just so that you know, the Actors Belong Here Facebook group is very different than other Facebook group because it is you can't post there. It is only for me to provide good content for you. So it's really about you commenting rather than about you saying, "Can you tell me where to get headshots?" Go to a different Facebook group for that. That's not what this is. This is having a voice for you, right? And then the other thing that I offer to everybody is these incredible agent templates. So if you don't have them already, it's dearnewagent.com. They're also in the profile link. So those are to help you reach out to managers and agents. And then you'll end up on my list and you'll get all the good freebies. I have a class tomorrow with Elaine Aldaffer. Anybody who's listening.
I was going to ask you about that. Who's doing all this mindfulness?
Yes, it's so. And she's been doing it for years, but unless you really had class with her, you never knew that. And tomorrow's class. So the link is in my bio to join us tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning for LA time, afternoon for New York time. But there's going to be poetry and there's going to be music and it's super creative class. It's going to be great. So me, how do I work with people? So I work with people. I have a membership program that I'm with people for a year. It's called Actor Operating System, and we meet twice a month. And then I have a program called Agent Goals, which is only around helping you find representation, but it's obviously way more than that. If you can tell who I am. It is so much more about owning who you are and empowering you as an actor. And then the other is a program called Audition Magnet, and that is just about getting more auditions. It's a whole program just to help you get more auditions. And then for non-actors, I work with most of those people one-on-one. So that's kind of how my work goes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And if you have any questions, you guys can email me. Yeah.
Yes, structure. You have structure for actors.
Yes.
Structure. Brian has got that shit down.
Thank you, Erin. Erin said they're so good. She's so adorable. Thank you. Yes. Hi, Jazzy. Oh my gosh, people from my group are here. Yay.
Jazzy. Hi, Kelly here.
Yeah.
And then there's one other thing that I wanted to ask you more about, because not a lot of people know, and we touched on it, but do you have a few more minutes?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's weird, somehow my phone, just so they all know this whole thing where I'm connected to Facebook, when my phone is plugged into my computer, the time is like random time McGee, even though it's 9:49 in real life. It's like 11:32. No one knows why, so, okay. Great.
Cool, good to know.
Yeah.
Don't forget to ask you about that camera thing.
Yeah.
But the other thing I wanted to touch on, being someone who's sought spirituality my whole life, and my father, I actually gave him this book called Living Buddha, Living Christ. It's one of his favorite ones.
Okay.
I've gone to Japan to study, Vietnam.
Okay.
To look into religion there and different places. And a lot of people don't know that you're a pretty spiritually connected person.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you're becoming a non-denominational
Reverend. Yeah. So good to get you. Like, what word do we use for that? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I let people choose for themselves.
Yeah.
And then, is it related to A Course in Miracles?
Yes.
I wonder if you could talk a little bit about your spiritual journey.
Sure.
For those who may not know.
Yeah.
Or who do and want to know more.
My spiritual journey came out of crisis. I'm a bad breakup person. And what I mean by that is I will go off the deep end when it came to a breakup. And that's kind of where I sought That's where I started to find spirituality. I was not raised any religion whatsoever. I would say if there was a religion in my household, it probably was Christian. I mean, we had a Christmas tree, but I mean, I went to church 4 times as a person, probably for weddings when I was a kid. Yeah, that was it. Like 5 when I was a kid. Wow. And so then I found A Course in Miracles. And A Course in Miracles, for anybody who's not familiar with it, is a psychological mind training system based on universal spiritual truths, which is that our mind system of the world is based on fear, and it is a mind system based on love. And how we operate through the world and what we manifest through doing that. And so it aligns with all of the greatest spiritual truths of any religion. The biggest thing that I think spirituality can be reduced to is 2 words, which I'm stealing this, I think, from Werner Erhard, but I could be wrong, which is be kind. That's what my spirituality boils down to. It also has a lot to do with forgiveness and has a lot to do with honoring the voice inside, right? And so for me, spirituality was the way I found who I really am, I'll say. I think that I thought I knew who I was, and I think I am more sure of who I am through this. And I think spirituality is a lifetime journey. In the way that the reverendship that I'm studying is primarily in A Course in Miracles. So that's the program that I'm studying in. But then, of course, I feed myself with other spiritualities because I want to be able to speak to everybody. And what's important to me around conversations around spirituality is that I can use the language that the person I'm talking to affects them at that level. So part of the reason why it's so vital to me that I have experience with different religions is whether you are on this call as a recovering Catholic, which I've heard people talk to me about that, or you grew up Jewish but don't do anything about it anymore. When you have that religion of origin, sometimes that speaks to you even though you don't ascribe to it anymore. Sometimes the metaphors of it or the stories of it, because you heard them as a child. And it's just because you heard them as a child, they mean a little bit more for you. It's why we can relate to children's stories so much as adults still, because you heard them in that point of your life. So to me, the reason why I'm collecting these tools as a spiritual advisor, right now I'm a spiritual practitioner, reverend is for the end of this year, I'll be a reverend, is so that I can practice the spirituality that you can understand. So I can use language that lands with you. So too often I think people can call themselves spiritual, but if you don't have a serious spiritual practice, then you're missing out. Best way to say that. You're missing out. And so this is where and the reason why the word discipline comes from the word disciple is because you are disciplined about that spiritual practice. So that does not mean it needs to feel bad. That's the opposite. But you have to believe that you need a spiritual shower in the same way that you need a shower. And that you need to wash off the day before so that you can clean yourself up for the next day. And what I find is, like I meditate, I have my version of what prayer is, and I read, right? And then at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 2:30, 3, 4, I have my Starbucks moment when I need it again. Like I've lost whatever centering came because I got distracted by the computer or Facebook or Instagram, or I've been working a little bit and it kind of got me off center. I'm not light enough of a spiritual being to say that one shower in the morning is enough. I got to wash my hands again. I gotta get myself clean. So I will often meditate again in the afternoon, even if it's like 3 or 4 minutes to come back. And then suddenly, yeah. The reset, exactly. Totally reset. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. And it sounds like it's pretty simple.
Yeah,
and
totally
something
simple.
that you actually look forward to and depend on, and that's like one beautiful thing that you're honoring yourself, and what a great duty you're giving to yourself and then gift to everyone in your life, because as you give yourself love, I think you radiate more love, and you definitely radiate a lot of love. You're very easy to be with.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for today. This is Ben. I couldn't be more grateful for having this time with you. Like just being able to talk in this great venue where hopefully some people learn something or learn more about us or learn more about some of the ways to approach the world differently in the next few days, right?
Or learn more about themselves.
Yeah.
Know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful. It's been such a gift.
Thank you so much.
We're ending on love.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
Yourself. I'm a big softie. So people want to get in touch with you.
Yep.
They just go to your Instagram bio.
Click the link in the bio or DM me. Happy to hear from anybody, and I'll get back to it. If anybody has a question about anything that I talked about, and you have, just DM me and I'll send you the link or whatever it is, so I can tell you how to get involved. I would love for, and of course, a lot of these things are free, so grab them. I made them because I want the world to be better. It's not like please take them. Please do better in your life, right? Like take these things and use them is what my goal for all that.
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you, Brian. And I look forward to we'll find something together to create for our next chapter.
I love it. I love a second chapter. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have an accountability today to reach out to me so I can tell you about the video thing.
I will.
Okay.
I will.
Great.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Much love to everybody.
Be
Thank
good.
you for joining us, and I look forward to connecting soon.
Bye, guys. Be good.
Bye.